Kiki, Pablo, how are we doing today?
Good, Michael. How are you? Where are you?
I am in Toronto, fellow
Yeah,
Canadians.
good man.
Well, let's start, Pablo, with you if we can. You are a self-proclaimed, very competitive person.
Okay.
But I'm curious, were you a gamer at any point, and did that self-competitiveness ever come out and make you rage quit a video game? And even better, was it ever Halo that made you do that?
Well, sadly, I did not grow up with a video game system or a TV. My parents were not into it, so I didn't have those things as a kid. When I was in high school, I played video games, but it was, going over to friends' houses and stuff like that. I particularly enjoyed getting into the racing games, and there was a few moments where I would throw a controller across the room. I did play some Halo, but I was not very good at it, and I allowed that to be a space where I was not incredibly competitive.
We're working on that.
Yeah, and I am working on that. I've now gotten most of my way through the Infinite campaign, and I'm working my way back now through the Master Chief Collection. So
good stuff. So you've gone through most of these games. Okay, that's cool. You actually get the ultimate revenge though on these games, because I guess at this point you literally control Master Chief. So I guess things have come full circle for you.
That's right.
Kiki, your turn. You've been involved with Halo obviously for a very long time. When it finally came to the point where television seemed like the next logical step, what did you and your team really want to do with this particular iteration of the Halo universe? And maybe what were some of the major influences when you guys were thinking about the show?
After shipping Halo 4 in 2012 is really when we started thinking about it, and the seeds of that were really about, with Halo 4, we worked to try and express this sort of Chief and Cortana story, and even get a little bit inside of Chief's head in terms of his sense of duty and where his allegiances lay at the end of that game. And that really sort of sparked the idea of being able to really tell a focused, character-driven story around the Master Chief and around John, and really figuring out how we have the opportunity to develop his character in a way that's actually very hard to do, obviously, in a first-person game. And in thinking about that, it became clear, between a feature and a television series, that having 8, 9, 10 hours to do that was critical. And so that was really the seed of the thought. And thankfully, very much after that in 2013, was able to partner with Steven Spielberg and with Amblin Entertainment. And that really gave us the foundation to sort of go on this rather long, but very gratifying journey to get here to today.
Right. Pablo, related to that, perhaps aside from the great voice acting of Steve Downes, what were some of the cinematic or even literary influences, because I know you're a very well-read individual, that you brought to your interpretation and your performance as Master Chief?
The biggest literary influence was the Halo lore and the Halo mythology, because there's enough of it to keep you busy for many, many, many lifetimes. So that was my first duty and job was to take a deep dive into the mythology and lore, aided first of all by these guys up in 343 Studios in Seattle. They took me in and gave me a boot camp that I was very appreciative for. And then it became stepping into the suit, and feeling what that was like, which had all of its own uniqueness and challenges and difficulties. And yeah, I would say the literary stuff stayed sort of in the Halo universe. That's one of the beauties of sci-fi, right? Is that they are these kind of standalone universes that are so imaginative and so different from our world. And as I said, this one is so rich and so deep that you could really live in there for miles. So it was a matter of just trying to do justice to what was already been established.
And I think to your question about sort of what else we look to, Game of Thrones, and this was obviously early, but still holds. Game of Thrones was something we really looked at in terms of scope and scale of world building, because that seemed to fit very well with sort of scope and scale of the Halo universe, as well as production value, and having an ensemble cast and having a very central story around the Master Chief, but also having other characters that we could follow and paths would diverge and come back together. But I think that was definitely an analogy for us in terms of kind of the quality of filmmaking we wanted from the television series, and really this epic sci-fi world writ large.
Well, Pablo, you already kind of touched on this, but I find it very interesting that you seem to be an actor who really enjoys outward appearances, changing his outward appearance, really kind of having fun with that, because you think of, Porn Stash being one of your more better known characters, or even Mad Sweeney, that amazing look that you had with him. So how did you have to kind of shift your process and your priorities as an actor to get the performance that you wanted when suddenly Master Chief is wearing this helmet most of the time?
Yeah, the being inside the armor and behind the mask brings a whole interesting set of challenges, and also some unique opportunities. I've said this before, and I really am interested in it, this idea that once you cover up your face and people don't have access to your facial expressions, they bring a lot of their own feelings and emotions to the table in a much stronger way than they would when they can read into what you're feeling, right? So there's a blank slate quality that the Chief has always had, and that everybody puts themselves into him and onto him because they can't see what he's doing. That is something to be recognized and noted, and then also is also a real, it's a gift in a way because of the amount of stuff that people bring to it. So remaining, obviously stillness is a huge deal. Specificity of movement, not moving in ways that distract from a certain feeling or an emotion, being confident enough to be still and present and listen to your scene partner in a way that communicates a certain feeling through 50 pounds of plastic.
Right. That's great. Well, I think fans have a lot to look forward to with this show. So best of luck to both of you. Best of luck with the show, and I hope everybody enjoys it. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Michael.
Hey, Real students, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe to Real School, click that round Real School logo right beside me. Also, click that damn notification bell so you're aware of all of Real School's new content. You can follow me on Twitter, and of course, if you get anything out of Real School, you can always give a little back. Just click the link in the description below or the button down there, and you can become part of my Patreon team.